In a dimly lit corner of New York City, 12-year-old Ethan weaved through the bustling crowds every day. He carried an old backpack filled with small items, keychains, cheap watches, and various trinkets. These goods were purchased from street vendors, and Ethan hoped to sell a few each day to earn some pocket money and help support his family. Ethan's family life was shrouded in hardship. His parents, John and Anna, had been unemployed for a long time. John used to work at a factory, but after it closed, he couldn't find steady work. Anna had been injured in an accident and was unable to do heavy labor. Thus, the weight of the family's burdens fell on Ethan's small shoulders. Every morning, Ethan would wake up early to prepare breakfast for his 6-year-old sister, Lily. Lily always looked at Ethan with her big eyes, her innocent face filled with trust and dependence on her brother. "Ethan, are you going out to sell things again today?" Lily asked, her voice tinged with worry. "Yes, Lily. I'll be back soon. You need to stay home and be good, okay? Don't go outside," Ethan replied gently, patting his sister's hair and trying to appear calm and reassuring. One day, as Ethan was selling his goods on the street as usual, he noticed a crowd gathering a short distance away. Curiosity led him closer, only to witness a shocking scene. A heated argument between two men had escalated, and suddenly one of them pulled out a knife and stabbed the other in the abdomen. Blood quickly stained the ground as the surrounding crowd screamed in terror and scattered. Ethan stood frozen, paralyzed by fear. He had never seen such violence up close, and a wave of terror and despair washed over him. In that moment, he felt incredibly small and helpless. Back at home, Ethan sat silently in a corner, replaying the day's events in his mind. John and Anna continued their endless arguments over daily struggles, while Lily quietly sat next to him, holding his hand. "Ethan, what's wrong?" she asked softly. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. Looking into Lily's innocent eyes, he made a silent vow. No matter how difficult things got, he would protect his sister and give her the best life he could. New York City's winter was brutally cold, with icy winds cutting through the streets. People hurried by, bundled up tightly in their coats. Ethan stood on a street corner, stomping his feet to keep warm while trying to catch the attention of passers-by, hoping to sell some of his small items. He noticed a frail woman across the street, holding a baby and crouching on the ground. Beside her was a small cardboard sign that read, "Need help, please give us warmth." Ethan's eyes were drawn to her out of curiosity and compassion. He walked over and said gently, "Hi, I'm Ethan. Do you need any help?" The woman looked up, and seeing a young boy, she gave a tired smile. "Hello, I'm Maria, and this is my son Carlos. We came from Central America, but now we're homeless and have no income." Maria's voice was low but strong. Ethan saw a mixture of despair and resilience in Maria's eyes. He felt a pang of sadness, realizing that someone's situation could be even more difficult than his and Lily's. He reached into his backpack and handed Maria and Carlos some snacks. Maria gratefully accepted them, thanking him repeatedly. From that day on, Ethan and Maria became friends. Each time Ethan passed that street corner, he would stop to chat with Maria and check if she and Carlos needed anything. Maria shared stories from her homeland, offering Ethan a sense of warmth and comfort amidst his harsh reality. As days went by, Ethan's concern for Maria and Carlos grew. Maria's condition was worsening, and her health was deteriorating, while baby Carlos needed more care and nutrition. Determined to help them, Ethan worked even harder, hoping to earn more money. One evening, after a long day, Ethan returned to their usual spot, but found Maria and Carlos missing. He searched frantically and finally found them in a secluded alley. Maria looked pale and was breathing heavily, clearly unwell. "Maria, what's wrong?" Ethan asked, his voice filled with worry. Maria forced a weak smile. "I'm just a bit tired, don't worry, Ethan." However, the next morning, Maria's condition rapidly declined. Ethan knew she needed medical attention, but feared calling for help because Maria was an undocumented immigrant. As fate would have it, a police patrol noticed the situation and took Maria away. Before leaving, she handed Carlos to Ethan, her eyes filled with sorrow and trust. "Ethan, please take care of Carlos. He's everything to me." Watching Maria being taken away, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of helplessness. He looked down at Carlos, who snuggled into his arms, oblivious to the harshness of the world. Ethan vowed to take on this responsibility and not let Maria down. Caring for Carlos alone presented unprecedented challenges for Ethan. Every morning, he had to prepare food for both Lily and Carlos before heading out to sell his goods. Despite the hardship, Ethan never gave up. He knew his efforts were now for himself, Lily, and Carlos. He wanted to ensure this little life experienced some warmth and hope in the cold, uncaring world. Ethan's strength and perseverance began to win the support of kind-hearted people around him. They donated clothes, food, and daily necessities. Although life remained tough, Ethan felt a glimmer of hope he had never experienced before. As winter gradually gave way to spring, the streets of New York City began to warm up. But for Ethan's family, life did not get any easier with the change of seasons. John and Anna's situation worsened, and the burden on the family grew heavier. Ethan not only had to care for Lily and Carlos every day, but he also had to continue selling goods to cover the basic household expenses. One evening, Ethan returned home to find John sitting in the dimly lit living room, surrounded by a pile of bills. John looked up at Ethan, his face etched with exhaustion and despair. "Ethan, we're 2 months behind on rent. The landlord has given us 1 more week. If we don't pay, we'll have to move out." Ethan's heart sank. The issue of rent had been a constant worry, but he had yet to find a solution. The small income from selling goods was nowhere near enough to cover the rent. Feeling a deep sense of helplessness and despair, Ethan couldn't imagine what would happen if he, Lily, and Carlos ended up homeless. Just then, Lily came out of her room, her face flushed and eyes glassy. Ethan rushed over and touched her forehead, realizing she had a fever. "Lily, what's wrong?" Ethan asked, panic rising in his voice. "Ethan, I don't feel well," Lily said weakly. Ethan's heart ached as he looked at his sister. She needed to see a doctor, but the family had no money for medical bills. He tried to cool her down with cold water, but it didn't help much. Lily's illness added to his growing anxiety, and the weight of their situation felt heavier than ever, almost crushing him. The next day, despite his exhaustion, Ethan continued to sell goods on the street. He kept telling himself that he had to keep going. He couldn't give up. But the day's hard work brought in little income, and when he returned home, he found Lily still lying in bed, her face as pale as before. Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of helplessness and despair. Late at night, Ethan sat by Lily's bedside, watching her frail face. Tears welled up in his eyes as he gently held her small hand, silently praying for her recovery. He knew he had to find a way to help his family overcome these challenges. Just then, Carlos began to cry. Ethan quickly went over and picked him up, soothing him gently. The responsibility on his shoulders grew heavier, but so did his determination. He couldn't let Lily and Carlos down. They couldn't be left alone in this harsh world. Ethan began seeking help from various charitable organizations in the community. He stood in line at a food bank to collect some groceries. It wasn't much, but it was enough to get them through a few days. He also learned that some charities offered free medical services, but appointments had to be made in advance. Determined to get Lily the help she needed, Ethan decided to take her to see a free doctor. He carried his weak sister on his back, with Carlos in tow, and walked a long distance to reach the charity medical center. The doctor examined Lily, prescribed some free medication, and advised her to rest as much as possible. Although life remained difficult, Ethan felt a glimmer of hope. He knew that as long as he persisted, there would eventually be a way to solve their problems. Kind-hearted people in the community also began to step forward to help this resilient boy and his family. Some donated clothes, while others offered temporary job opportunities. Despite the challenges, Ethan's spirit remained unbroken. He was determined to find a way to support his family and ensure that Lily and Carlos had a chance at a better life. Spring sunshine warmed the streets of New York City, but Ethan's heart remained clouded with worry. Every day, he juggled caring for Lily and Carlos with selling trinkets on the street. The weight of these responsibilities left him breathless, yet he never gave up hope. Ethan believed that if he worked hard enough, he would find a way to solve their problems. One day, while picking up food at the community center, Ethan overheard a conversation about a charitable organization. This organization, called Light of Hope, not only provided food and clothing, but also offered legal aid and shelter services. Intrigued, Ethan decided to investigate. At Light of Hope, the staff warmly welcomed Ethan. After learning about his situation, they arranged for him to meet with a lawyer named Sarah. Sarah, a compassionate and experienced attorney, was deeply moved and shocked by Ethan's story. "Ethan, your case is unique, but I believe we can help you," Sarah said firmly. "Have you considered taking legal action to protect your and Lily's rights?" Ethan hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I just want to give Lily a better life and stop her from suffering." Sarah smiled and took Ethan's hand. "I understand. We can sue your parents for failing to provide basic living conditions. This won't be easy, but if you persevere, we have a chance to win." With Sarah's help, Ethan embarked on a legal battle. Sarah and her team tirelessly gathered evidence and prepared the case. They visited Ethan's home, documenting his and Lily's living conditions. They also interviewed neighbors and community workers to collect their testimonies. As time passed, Ethan began to feel a newfound strength and determination. He realized that this lawsuit was not just for himself, but for Lily and Carlos, for their chance at a better future. One day, Ethan received notification that the court had accepted his case. Despite feeling nervous, he stepped confidently onto the courthouse steps. In court, Ethan bravely recounted his experiences and hardships. His voice, though young, was filled with determination and courage. The judge listened intently to Ethan's testimony, and Sarah used her professional knowledge and experience to strongly advocate for him. The opposing lawyer tried to question Ethan's motives, but his sincerity and resilience won the respect of everyone present. With each word, Ethan's conviction grew stronger. He spoke not only of the neglect he and Lily faced, but also of the hope for a future where they could thrive. The courtroom was silent, captivated by the young boy's unwavering spirit. The judge, moved by Ethan's testimony and the compelling evidence presented by Sarah, made a ruling in Ethan's favor. The court ordered that Ethan and Lily be placed in a safe and supportive environment, and their parents were required to attend counseling and community service to improve their ability to care for their children. Leaving the courthouse, Ethan felt a sense of relief and triumph. He knew that this was just the beginning of their journey to a better life. But it was a crucial step. With the support of Light of Hope and Sarah, Ethan was determined to build a brighter future for himself, Lily, and Carlos. Ethan's fight had not only secured a safer environment for his family, but had also inspired many others in the community. His story was a testament to the power of resilience and the importance of standing up for one's rights. And with every challenge they faced, Ethan's resolve to protect his loved ones and strive for a better life only grew stronger. After a long and arduous legal process, Ethan's case not only received the court's support, but also garnered widespread attention. The media extensively covered the story of the brave boy, and aid poured in from all corners of society. Ethan and Lily's lives began to transform dramatically. One of the people touched by Ethan's story was Linda, a teacher passionate about social work. She decided to apply to become Ethan and Lily's foster parent. After a thorough review and evaluation process, the court approved Linda's application. Ethan and Lily moved into Linda's warm and spacious home. Linda's home was a world away from their cramped apartment. It had a large living room, cozy bedrooms, and even a small garden. Lily ran around the garden excitedly, her face glowing with a happiness that had been missing for so long. Seeing his sister's joy, Ethan felt a deep sense of satisfaction and relief. Under Linda's care, Ethan and Lily's quality of life improved significantly. They now had ample food and clothing, and they received better educational opportunities. Linda helped them with their homework daily and encouraged them to pursue their dreams fearlessly. Meanwhile, Maria regained her freedom with the help of the charitable organization. She found a stable job and started a new life. Carlos was adopted by a kind family who provided him with attentive care and education. Maria often visited Ethan and Lily, and their friendship grew even stronger. In their new life, Ethan gradually regained his confidence and hope. He excelled in school, earning high grades and the admiration of his teachers and peers. He actively participated in various extracurricular activities, developing his leadership and teamwork skills. Encouraged by Linda, Ethan began to contemplate his future. One day, Ethan told Linda, "Linda, I want to become a lawyer like Sarah and help children who need it." Linda smiled warmly at Ethan. Her eyes filled with pride and affection. "Ethan, I believe you can do it. You've already shown immense courage and determination. You'll help many people in the future." Feeling a surge of warmth in his heart, Ethan knew he had a clear goal and direction. From that day on, he studied even harder, laying a solid foundation for his future dreams. Years later, Ethan was accepted into law school. During his time in college, he actively participated in various legal aid activities, gaining valuable practical experience. His story inspired countless people and attracted many like-minded friends. Together, they provided legal assistance to vulnerable groups in society, spreading love and hope. After graduating, Ethan became an outstanding lawyer. Using his professional knowledge and personal experiences, he helped many children like himself see hope in their darkest times. In the courtroom, he staunchly defended every child in need, just as Sarah had done for him. Under Ethan's care, Lily also thrived, becoming a teacher who used her love and patience to educate the next generation. Together, they continued to spread warmth and light in the world. Ethan's journey showed that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, one could rise above and make a difference. His unwavering spirit and dedication to helping others made him a beacon of hope, inspiring all who heard his story.